What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Montana Method Podcast one more time. Of course, your host, Nelson Rodriguez Jr., author of Montana Method. Today, I have a great guest, person who is killing it in the sales car industry here in Miami, a big player for Potamkin Hyundai. I met her a while back, been watching her for a while now. As you guys know, I have a strong sales background. I love talking with and connecting with people who are doing great things in sales. We're going to talk about her journey, what she's been up to, what she's up to nowadays, and a bunch of interesting stuff. So stay tuned.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.
Hi, Nela.
Hi.
What's up?
What's up? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure, definitely. How you been?
Been good.
I haven't seen you in like...
Oof.
Bro, did I see you before the pandemic?
No, I mean, the last time was literally at Raw Sushi. That was the last time I saw you.
No, we ran into each other at a gas station that one time.
Oh.
Yeah.
In Marathon.
Yeah, over there
okay.
by the dealership.
Yep.
Yeah. No, but I'm trying to think, like, when we met, was that before the pandemic? I think it was. Bro, we met before the pandemic.
Before? No.
That's crazy, dog. Yeah, because there was people there.
Yeah, it was like 2020.
Right before,
Yeah.
Dog, that's 3.5 years.
Time flies.
How different is the world today? Like, isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah. I mean, I think the pandemic definitely shifted a lot of things.
Bro. Like, February of 2020 to July of 2023 is 3.5 years. It's a long time, but it's not a long time. But it's crazy how different things are in 3.5 years. Like, bro.
Just everything,
Everything.
Culture.
Yeah. The way people see the world.
Yeah.
The way people treat
Health,
each other. Health is super different.
Yeah.
The United States, it's such a different country.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's crazy to think about what can happen in that. Depending on the perspective, for some people, it's a long time. For some people, for me, 3.5 years is nothing. But man, I didn't even think about that. I was thinking, like, yeah, we met, but yeah, it was pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
At Raw Sushi. That's one of my favorite sushi spots. I love Raw Sushi.
Things are higher. Inflation.
Prices, right? Buying a house at the beginning of 2020, buying a house today is nuts. The price, buying anything, but the house is where you can see the major difference. Cars.
Interest rates. That's the big one right there.
When I was at Cadillac, I saw it. And that was last year. That was the end of last year. That wasn't even this year. I don't know how much it's changed.
No, it's actually still going higher.
Still even higher than last year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, the banks and the Federal Reserve, remember, we all get the same money from the Federal Reserve. And just any 40 basis points goes up and everything goes up. Back then, you had people with excellent credit. I'm telling you, getting 0%.
Yeah.
That is non-existent. I mean,
Crazy.
There is, but it's like you're doing 48 months. Your payment's going to be high. Yeah, I mean, most people don't do that. So.
That's crazy, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that has to do with everything, too.
How's the volume? So I'm interested in this, right? How's the volume at Hyundai? Like, what are you seeing between comparing 3 years ago, where you were at Hyundai 3 years ago?
Yeah.
When I met you, you were working.
I'm actually gonna make 3 years next month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, that's what I'm saying. Time just flies.
Flies, right?
Yep.
So, from 3 years ago, pre-pandemic, or right around the pandemic, to now, what do you see? Do you see a difference in volume? Are people buying more or less?
I think it's the same, about the same. They're just managing better. Like, they're thinking more. Like,
to buy things.
Right, exactly. It's not like how it used to be, you know?
Where
buying people will buy, people will buy because they wanted the car, out of pleasure. Now it's like, exactly. People, I feel like, are thinking more longevity. Like, okay. Because the pandemic, I mean, it's unfortunate, the pandemic, again, shifted so many things. We're talking about people lost their jobs. People lost family members, businesses, you know. It shifted a bunch of things, you know. So people are now being more skeptical, you know, and like, okay, let me think more on this, you know.
That makes sense. And it's sad that something so catastrophic had to happen for people to think that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I think we follow each other on Instagram and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You've seen the videos. I'm big on developing yourself, becoming a better person. A big part of that is financial education.
Right.
The amount of financial ignorance that is in this country specifically, I've never lived anywhere else, right? So I can only speak for the United States. Bro, like, and in Miami where everybody's about looking good, you know what I mean?
Keeping up with the Jones.
Yo. Yep. Someone is straight willing to blow their rent money on some Louis Vuitton shoes and some dumb stuff. Like, what? And it took something as catastrophic as a pandemic to make people realize, listen, dude, your priorities are backwards.
Yeah.
You know? So, yeah, that's pretty crazy that something like that had to happen, you know? I'm a big believer in we kind of end up with the life that we create for ourselves. So if you're tight on money, it sounds harsh, but you have no one to blame but yourself.
Right.
Because
we all have choices.
Yo.
Yeah.
That's the name of the episode. We all have choices. Right?
Yep.
You have the choice to save that money. You don't have to spend it.
And listen, I feel like it is unfortunate. Like sometimes us humans, like we're just so sometimes hard-headed. Like it's no hasta que le pasa una las cosas. Like until things happen to you, it's like you learn. And there's like that saying, you know, fool me once, okay, shame on you. Fool me twice,
shame on me.
You know, but the third time is like, hasta cuando?
Bro.
You get me?
Yeah, man. That's so crazy that I just thought about that. And you're right. Like, and then Miami, right? Miami is I love Miami and I can never leave this place. One, because of the weather. I'm not dealing with
305 till I die.
Straight up, yeah. I'm tired of I'm gonna say, I don't care. I'm tired of the New Yorkers moving here. Look, let's get this out of the way. If you're a pre-pandemic New Yorker, you're my dog. If you're a pandemic New Yorker, you're a different breed and you know it. I'm not going to say anything else on the subject. You know who I'm talking to.
What is New York without pizza, guys? Come on.
So, anyway, what's happening? People who aren't from Miami, who are from somewhere else, come here, make it super expensive, and then they want Miami to be like where you came from. You should have stayed where you came from.
Right, they're bringing their ideology down here.
Yo, don't even get me started on that, right? That's a big thing. But then it's like, yo, you left because that place isn't working out for you. So why would you want Miami to be like that place? Mm-hmm. You obviously left for a reason. You like something about Miami. So why do you want Miami to be like New York?
It's that New York masochist energy.
Yo, and don't get me wrong, I love New York. Listen, I love New York. I've been to New York a million times. My dad's a truck driver. When I was a kid, I used to go in the summer every week, literally. We'd go to, because he's a truck driver, so he used to go up to work there every week. I love New York. Shout out to my people on Canal Street, the Bronx. I have my friends that live up in New York. If you stayed in New York, this is not about you. This is about the people who left New York and came to Miami. And it's like, yo, you left New York. If you wanted to stay in New York, you should have stayed. So why are you coming to Miami and then saying it should be like New York?
Right.
I don't go to New York and say it should be like Miami. You know what I mean? It just doesn't. I don't know.
And there's just so many factors. I mean, listen, overall, too, many people do move here because of the weather. I mean, it's hard to beat that, too.
But they moved here in if you moved here in 2020, 2021, and 2022, you didn't move here because of the weather.
Well, yeah.
You moved here because we were free to do whatever we wanted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
but then it goes back to what we were saying. More people are coming here, so it makes the cost of living go up.
Exactly.
Traffic.
Yo. And I will say there was a massive immigration wave in the last few years. So it's not just the New Yorkers, you know, but at the same time, there's always been immigrants in Miami. So that's kind of like the Cubans, the Venezuelans, the Nicaraguans. That's always been part of our culture, right? So that didn't really change much. The change was like when you saw that cost of living go, Miami was always expensive, right? But now it's like, yo, you gotta really grind. Like, you know how many people I know that are in like relationships they don't want to be in because they're like, dog, if I break up with this person right now, I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna put any names out there. I'm not gonna put
There's a meme on that though saying Miami's so bad that you're with that person just to pay rent.
Damn.
That's definitely Miami though.
Anyway, that's my rant. The reason I could never leave Miami is for many reasons. One, the weather, right? That's not even the most important part. Two is my culture. I get depressed when I'm in a city and I walk outside and I go to the corner and I can't order a Cuban pastry, you know what I mean? Or I can't go to like a Nicaraguan restaurant and order like carne asada. If I can't, bro, because people think it's a Cuban. It's not. No, there's so many of us that make up Miami. Like, yeah, the Cuban bakeries and the Cuban restaurants, but then you have like a Yambo and all that stuff that's Nicaragua. Oh my God.
Right. Well, I mean, we can break down Florida, like South Florida into sections. I mean,
right. And then you go
Sweetwater is like Nicaragua, you know.
And then you go to Doral and you have a bunch of fire Venezuelan food.
Yeah,
super fire, you know? Oh, man. So that's what you can't have that anywhere else in the country. Nowhere.
It's definitely a world of its own down here.
For sure. Yeah. I tell my friends all the time, bring your passport. Miami's another country, bro. Miami's it's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. But I could never. So here's the thing. That's happening. Other people are moving here. They want to turn Miami into what it's not. And then the people that are from Miami are leaving. It's like, no, I'm not leaving. This is my city.
Right.
I grew up here.
Right.
I was born
Why
here.
should I have to leave?
Yeah.
Right.
My parents
I'm with you.
Listen, we built this city. Your parents, my parents, other grandparents, they built this city. This city was nothing before they came here. So if they were a part of building this city and turning it what it's into, and I was born in the city, why should I leave? Because it's more expensive? Right. Okay. Listen, if you want to move, and like my sister, God bless her, she lives in Louisiana, and she pays $800 for a four-bedroom house. Oh my goodness. $800 a month. And I get it. It's super cheap. It looks... But bro, it's a tiny town. Everything closes at 7:45 at night. I can't live there.
Yeah. Oh, and like Texas. I like Texas, so I would go to Texas like.
Yeah, but you move to like Houston or Austin or Dallas. You wouldn't move to like Childress, Texas, right? Right,
exactly. But even then, like, you know, when I would visit, like I would go there every like weekend, you know, and I'll visit because I had a friend there, you know, and it's just like it's not home, you know, for the same thing we talk about. And okay, I'm not an alcoholic, but but if I wanted to get a drink at 1 a.m, I can't.
Exactly.
Because they stopped serving alcohol at midnight, you know?
Exactly.
So it's like those restrictions, those things that you just don't get, like, only in Miami. Yeah. Yeah. The city that never sleeps is what I say.
110%.
Yeah. And a good thing about Miami, too, like, I see pros and cons of people coming here. Because the cons are, like, traffic. You know, it gets insane. Ugh. But pros, I mean, I do see opportunity.
Of course.
You know, more buyers, more business, more flow.
More money.
Exactly. So that's always a good thing.
That's the major thing for me. It's like, yeah, it's more expensive. But guess what? You have more opportunity so you can make more money. Mm-hmm. I don't have the opportunities that I have here in Timbuktu. You know what I mean? Yeah, lifestyle is cheaper. I could maybe go there and save money.
Exactly.
Outside of that, though, what can I do in that little town? Mm-hmm. It's great. Like, if you have a strategy, I'm all for it if you have a strategy long term. You're saying, all right, I'm going to get a job paying me $30, $40 an hour. I'm going to cut expenses. And for the next year, I'm going to save up $100,000 or whatever. You know what I mean? The math was off there. Anyway.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. But you get what I'm saying? Like, if you have and then I'm going to invest in, open a restaurant or start this business or do that. That I get, but if you're going, I just want it to be cheaper. Okay.
Yeah.
For what?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That's just me. You know, my mom almost got me to move out there too. Also, because she
or Louisiana? Oh.
Yeah, almost. But I wasn't, not to the point where like I almost did it, but I was considering it. Because for that, I was like, man, maybe I can move over there, save some money, come back with some money in the bank. But I was like, bro, I'm going to move over there and do what? You know what I mean? Like be super... You know, be miserable, and I don't want my family to see me that way. You know what I mean? So
right, and it all goes down like as long as you're happy and you know you decide what makes you happy.
Exactly.
You know that's important because you have to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody.
Super important.
Yeah. So I'm a big believer on that for sure.
You live in Broward?
Well, no. I used to live in Broward,
okay.
yeah. That's where we met Raw Sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm in Aventura now.
That's funny. It's right by. I used to work at Ocean Cadillac. Is right there. It's on. It's off of Miami Gardens Drive and I-95.
Oh yeah, I see her. I see her every morning.
That's funny.
Yeah.
You used to drive past.
Oh
me.
wow. Well, the dealer's new. That dealer they build. When did they build that?
2018. Dealer? It's fairly new. 2018.
Yeah, but that building's still nice. It looks new. Yeah.
A lot of people don't like to say this out loud. It used to be King of Diamonds.
No shit.
Yeah.
Really?
Nobody makes a connection until I say it. See? No one makes a connection until I say it.
Holy shit.
It used to be
so
King
they
of
just
Diamonds.
closed King of Diamonds. I mean, I don't know.
One day, I don't know
All
why.
I know is Tootsie's.
Yeah.
And Booby Trap.
It's around the corner. It's around the corner. Anyway, King of Diamonds went out of business, and then it turned into like a Spanish nightclub called Mala or something. Okay. Then they bought King of Diamonds back, and then it went out of business, apparently. Which I don't understand how it went out of business, because King of Diamonds they always had like Rick Ross. They had like super famous rappers.
Right.
So I don't, anyway, whatever. So yeah.
Well, that you know what that means, that somebody was, somebody took that business out of business.
So Prime Real Estate, Prime Real Estate. It's funny because I took the job, I started working there, and I'm on the second floor. I'm working in BDC, right? So I'm working, and then we're just talking like, man, this is Prime Real Estate, is right off the highway. Yeah. And then I forgot how it came up, but somebody brought up the conversation of strip clubs, because it's around the corner from Tootsie's, and Cheetah's is, and Scarlett's is right there. It's all close to I-95. So
how do you know all the strip clubs?
I see them on the highway when I drive past them, bro. No comment. Anyway, listen. I did it. I had fun in my 20s. That era's over. I'm 30 now. Okay. Anyway, so they're talking about these things, and then someone says, "Oh yeah, you guys remember King of Diamonds?" And then I was like, "Yeah, King of Diamonds isn't around anymore." And then I was like, "Wait, wasn't King of Diamonds like in this same exact area?" And then I was like, "Wait a second. This used to be King of Diamonds. Oh my God, I'm on the second floor. This used to be the VIP room."
No shoulder rubs over here.
It was so funny. Yeah. And then all of us were cracking up. And then I looked up like an old picture, like, and then it was the same building. And the drive up now where the customers go, it's it used to be the entrance. It's so funny thinking about it.
Yeah.
It took me like a month. I wasn't working there for like a month, and I didn't realize it. It's so funny. Anyway, but yeah, Ocean Cadillac, it's great business, great dealership, great salespeople that work there. They're all good friends of mine. Management, Matt Wayne and Hugh Okoye, great people. And shout out to them. I gotta get them to sponsor me. Anyway,
I know, free promo.
So yeah, that's a great dealership, great team, great mentorship. Let me tell you, because Matt is an OG in the sales industry. Matt Wayne. And the way he mentors his team is pretty different from what I've seen. I'm a person that I always found mentorship in like I was an entrepreneur, and then I was a salesperson. I did a bunch of different stuff. So I looked for mentorship, and then I learned what I learned, and I got involved in the right. I was very blessed. But I never saw a place that like offered mentorship like that until Ocean Cadillac. Was pretty cool.
Yeah.
What about you? Like, what how did you start? Because I know you're into the self-development stuff just like me. Right. Do you remember the first time you kind of got introduced to a book or a tape or a seminar? Was it a specific person?
At the dealer,
Oh, cool.
Yeah, definitely.
So you had started working there, and then...
Well, I got into the car business from my neighbor.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So he was a manager, and he hired me in Volkswagen, because he used to work in Volkswagen.
Is it the Volkswagen
right
in the same
corner,
area?
Yeah, Palmetto 57. So, and I started working there, and then, you're into sales, something new, and... people talk, right. And they're like, this business has so much potential, and, so you kind of get interested, and, that's when I really sat down and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is my career. This is my path. This is what I want to do. And it kind of just like grew from there, because I guess people would say I had like the talent, but I'll be honest, I think for me being a female in a male dominated field is like, it does give me an advantage, you get me? And I would say that 100%. I mean, you still have to work hard. You still have to put in the work. But definitely, I feel like a lot of people helped me along the way. My neighbor. There was also another manager that he would introduce me like to all these podcasts.
Awesome.
Yeah, and he was like my mentor, and I still work for him. So shout out to Willie. So if we're gonna give shout outs, right? So I always appreciate those people along the way because, like you said, they're your mentors. You look up to them. They've been successful in this business, and you want to be around people that have what you want. You learn from them. So
that's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember I might have been, how old was I? I was 18. I just graduated high school. And I was super broke. Like, I was working at McDonald's. I was living on my own. I moved out on my own halfway through my senior year of high school. So I was already living alone at age 17, working full-time at McDonald's and going to high school. My day consisted of waking up at 5 in the morning. I'd be at school by like 6:30, finish school at 2:30, go straight to work at 3, work till 11, go home and start that day over the next day like it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when you're at your lowest and you're like broke, is like, how lower can you go?
Crazy, right?
You just look up and you're like, you don't want to go back to that.
Yeah.
Like, I remember too, like, it was before I got into the car business, but my first job was AutoZone. I remember being so broke. I'm telling you, I had a 97 Acura Interior, which was by far still, it was my first car, my favorite car, but I worked hard for it, to get it. It was stick shift and I loved it. But I remember being so broke at that age too, where I only had $50 in my pocket and I ran out of gas.
Damn.
Yeah. And it's those moments where you're like, I don't ever want to be in this position ever again.
Yeah.
That's when, you worked hard. I bought my car, I started saving money, and you go up from there. I mean, of course, along life, you get ups and downs, you lose some money, you make some money.
For sure.
It's just really trying to get out,
Yeah. With me, it was 18, just graduated high school, flat broke. I graduated high school in June of 2010. I'm working at McDonald's full time. I go straight into college. Like a month later, I start college. I go to Miami Institute of Art and Design.
Okay.
Miami International University of Art and Design.
Is that the one in Fort Lauderdale?
No? There used to be an art institute in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, okay.
But I went to the one in Miami. It's on 15th and Biscayne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Downtown, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, maybe October, I want to say, of that year, I'm broke to the point where, like, it hurts my soul, bro. I'm just, like, struggling, right? My best friend, Johnny, we're still good friends to this day. He lives in Colorado now. He's like, yo, I got to show you something. And he introduces me to network marketing. And that was my first glimpse into a better life. Like, that was the first time I was able to dream. That was the first time I met people who were doing well. I met people making millions of dollars. I met people who had, 6 or 7 years earlier were me. They were an 18-year-old or 19 or 20-year-old kid broke, and now they were multimillionaires. So it was, and then I joined that business, and then they handed me audios to listen to. Back then there was no podcast. It was like 2010, so there was podcast, but it was underground. It wasn't really like a thing.
Right.
Yeah. So they handed me some audios to listen to, and one of the first ones I listened to was Jim Rohn.
Oh, the GOAT. One of the GOATs.
I don't know if you know this, but he like all of the speakers and authors, all of those guys started listening to him.
Yeah, Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, they say too.
Yeah. Tony Robbins.
Bob Proctor too.
Bob Proctor is around the same era, yeah. There's very few people who didn't learn from him. You know what I mean? Who that wasn't like their introduction into like personal development. And what Jim Rohn, simple things, man. Don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better.
Yep.
Wow.
Learn more skills.
Oh my God. Yeah. Don't wish for less problems. Wish for more skills. I never thought of that, bro. The problem isn't that it's too expensive. The problem is you can't afford it.
Oh my goodness. Dropping knowledge. Nuggets.
I'm an 18-year-old broke-ass kid listening to this. Yep. I'm like, yo, who is this guy?
Oh, when he talks about the season.
Bro.
Oh,
have you read that book? It's a book. It's very small. It's like
No, I
Seasons.
haven't. No, I haven't. But I've seen it on Amazon.
Yeah,
I was gonna order, but
and he talks about it too. You could watch. He has 2 classic like seminars. One is called "Living Your Best Life Ever," and 2 is I'm forgetting but it's 2. He has 1 4-hour one and a 2-hour one that are like his most famous. One is in the 90s and one is in the 80s. And like all those clips you see on Instagram and stuff, they come from those 2 seminars. And I've watched those 2 seminars probably like 17 times.
Yeah, I remember. I haven't gone back to it, but I remember on one of them he's talking about the seasons
of life, and
it is so true. Like he talks about, like how spring is opportunity season, and it does not fail. Ever. It really happens. Like, something comes up, like, oh, somebody calls you, like, hey, let's do that. And that's the opportunity. And it does happen in springtime. Then summer comes, Summer, everybody wants to, party, go to the beach, more pleasure. And it says protect your crops, summer. I'm like, oh, my gosh. And then prepare for winter. And it says do not complain too. I forgot how exactly.
Don't complain in the winter when you don't have a harvest.
Right. There you go. Yeah, it was something along those lines.
You reap what you sow in the fall. When the crop comes and you either have a giant crop and you do really well, or the crop sucked. Mm-hmm. That was based on what you did in the summer. Mm-hmm. In the summer, you either worked really hard, right, on your opportunity that you found, or you went and you just, summer, let's go party, And then in the fall, you either reap the rewards or you suffer the consequences. And then in the winters, when you feel it, winter's like, wow, these are the. And then in the winters, like when you didn't when you did the wrong things, that's when you feel it. You're like starving in the winter. You have no food, Yeah.
And it's hard kind of not to complain, but it goes back to what we're saying. We all have choices too. It's like, what were you doing?
Full circle.
Yeah.
Bro.
Yep.
Jim Rohn changed my life. Like the concepts, those small little concepts were so pivotal in the way, I can't even put it into words, man. Everybody has those moments in their life where they were like, man, I listened to this guy, I heard this information, I read this book, and that idea changed the way I saw everything. And that for me was it's happened to me 4 or 5 times in my life where I saw, one pivotal thing that, but for me it was that, dude, Jim Rohn, he started it all. And then I got into, I've Tony Robbins and this guy and that guy, so, and then you have the more modern era, you have like Andy Frisella and, the more modern guys.
Yeah, man, Andy Frisella, I love Andy Frisella.
He's dope.
Yeah.
He gives it to you raw. I love that.
I love that. And I love Ed Milet too, because Ed Milet's like opposite from him.
Yeah, he's very like...
He's very... I'll say, like, he's not as, like,
raw
out there, like aggressive.
Yeah.
He's very, like, I feel like he's very intentional, and when he talks, it's like very energetic.
I feel like
both of them.
Yeah.
But
I feel like Ed Milet talks to you like he's your friend. Like, he's your friend that wants you to succeed. And Andy is like your older brother.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yo. Yeah,
that's
man.
Funny.
One guy I've gotten into, I don't know if you've heard of him. Dude, this guy's, you need to listen. Wes Watson. Have you heard of him?
Oh, Andy Frisella, I think brought him, or they know each other. Like
yeah, they're friends.
Yeah.
Bro, I think he just signed a first form or something. I don't know. Anyway, yo.
I think he was in one of their podcasts or something.
Yeah.
Didn't he get like arrested, or he was the guy that went to jail?
Check this out. I'm gonna tell you his story.
Yeah.
Get ready to be amazed, bro. This guy goes to prison for 10 years. 10 years. Drug dealer. Like, his life is over. And then on top of that, like in prison, he wasn't a good guy. Like, he did some crazy stuff that he admits. He's open about it. He's like, this is who I was. This is what I did. Tatted up, blasted like gang member. Bro, he comes out after 10 years of being in prison and has to live at his grandma's house and lives in the same room as his parents. Like, his parents sleep on that bed and he sleeps in this bed in the same room. He got out of prison 5 years ago. He's making $2 million a month.
God damn.
5 years ago.
Holy shit.
That's not a lot of time. Think about it. He spent 10 years in prison. Like,
his whole life, like from when he was a child, like I'm sure all the trauma and everything he'd been through. And it takes 5 years. Wow.
$2 million a month. Just off his coaching business.
Nuts.
Because that's what he's a coach. He's a life coach. Crazy, bro. His story is like, bro, pretty.
Right? That's why it's like never too late.
Never, right?
It's never like it's. And everybody has to find what works for them, what they're passionate about, and just like go after it and not be afraid. And what I feel like a lot of people too, like for me, one thing being in sales is like what helped me a lot is like I'm not afraid to talk to people and I'm not, your opinion, I'll listen, constructive criticism, I'll listen. But I'm nobody's going to deviate me from my process. Your opinion, whether it's good or bad, okay, I'm gonna listen, but, if you're not helping me, get somewhere or, if you're just trying to bring me down or anything, like, I won't listen to it. I tune all that out. So, and sales pretty much taught me that.
100%. I'm with you. Sales cultivated me. Sales made me the man I am today. If it wasn't for sales, I can't even describe it, bro. Like, it's so hard to articulate what sales did for me because it did so much. It didn't do one thing. First, it helped me find me because you find out who you are when you face adversity, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of failure that I had to go through to come out the other side and like survive and make money was so vital to building me as a person. Sales made me understand that if you don't fail, you're never gonna grow. If you don't fail, you're never going to become the person worthy of receiving that goal on the other end. If you don't fail, you're never going to discover who you are. So many great lessons. It taught me how to speak to people. It taught me how to communicate. It taught me how to present myself, right? Like
how to face rejection.
How to face rejection.
Yeah.
Yo,
you know what it is?
I mean,
patience. Oh, my God.
Patience.
Yes. And you still learn that. So it's
and it's an ongoing process.
Yeah.
So have you heard of the principle of Kaizen? You know what that is?
No.
It's Japanese. It's constant, never-ending improvement. It's why the Japanese are the way they are, and everything they make is like indestructible. That's what sales is. If you're a committed salesperson or a committed entrepreneur, constant, never-ending improvement. If you're not constantly looking for ways to improve and get better, you're getting worse.
You're dying. If you're not growing, you're dying. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Evolve or die.
That's true.
And sales is a super competitive industry. So is entrepreneurship. There's people out there doing the same thing you do, doing it better than you. So you forced, in order to survive, you have to grow. You have to professionally develop yourself, personally develop yourself, be around other people who are doing good things, cut off negative associations, build good habits, put the right things in your brain, read the right books, listen to the right people. I learned all of this in sales.
Yeah.
And then that's why I think it's funny how people, oh, you're a salesperson. Yeah, I am a salesperson. So what?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you go work a 9 to 5 that you don't like doing. Like,
and it's like that
I mean?
bad like need like for especially car dealers.
Yeah, car sales. Yeah.
Like it's unfortunate, but the stigma is that they're sharks. You know, they're very deceitful. And one thing that helped me too is like, okay, me knowing that I'm gonna be the opposite.
Exactly.
You know, I'm gonna give you clarity. I'm gonna tell you how it is. Like, okay, this is it. 100% transparency. You know. And it all goes back to the golden rule. A lot of people think sales is like complicated, but it's really not. It's like the one golden rule also too that I always think is like just treat people how you want to be treated.
Exactly.
That's it. Like when you go into a store, you go somewhere, you love having good attention, you know, and that's anywhere.
100%.
So that helped out too. So
definitely.
And I'm just going back to something that you were saying too, because I was like thinking, I'm like, what really like is that one book or I guess that one podcast? You said it was Jim Rohn for you. For me, I would say is the 4 Agreements.
Ooh, great book.
Yeah. Like when I read that book, it like made you think like, okay, like you think back to your childhood, like your traumas and all that. Like you're like, wow, you know, and you can apply every day.
Every day, man.
Every day.
Every day. Mm-hmm. It's the 4 Agreements
by
Don Miguel Ruiz. Go if you haven't read it. It's a great book.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I can't even. I read 31 books in 4 months at one point in my life. Yeah.
That's a lot of books.
Yeah.
You grew that muscle, that brain.
Yeah. It's if it wasn't for reading is so powerful.
Yeah.
It's crazy how many people say, "Oh, I'm not a reader." Well, then don't read. Live a mediocre life. Don't look. Isn't it crazy how people are willing to accept being mediocre and they're not willing to do the little bit of extra work to live a better life? Reading a book, bro, let's be real. Reading a book is not hard.
No, it's
and people
not.
make it seem it's like, oh no, I don't like reading. Bro, it's a freaking $15 or $20 book. Like,
yeah,
bro.
no, and it's like what you said. It's like just doing the little things, like just doing 10 pages, like a day. I mean, not everybody does like reading, so I feel like, I think books overall are the best though, but some people prefer like podcasts or
that's fine as long as
audio.
But you got to do something though.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Do something.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna give you a statistic that's gonna drive you crazy. Check this out. You ready for this?
All right.
If you listen to an audio for 30 minutes a day, you'll have you have the equivalent of a PhD in the other 4 years.
Wow.
That's crazy, right?
That is wild.
I'm telling you, like, that's the amount of information that's out there for us to receive.
Now, what will we do with the information is another thing.
Right? Once we find it.
Applied knowledge is everything, too. So.
Applied knowledge is so powerful.
Yeah.
How many people have you met that are, like, super smart and know so many things, yet their life is just like, yo, but you're, like, out of shape, and you're broke, and you just got divorced, and this and that, yet they're so full of potential.
Yeah. That's one thing I don't know about you, I hate seeing that. And, another thing, and then I'm going to get raw, like, it comes from people closest to you, Because, I'm sure you're the same way. You're probably, like, that one in the family that's, like, pushing, working hard, and trying to move forward. And then, like, you have your siblings and other people around you, and they're not, like, doing that. And it's, like, you can't make them do that. So what do? The only thing you can do is, like, be your best version, and they're going to get influenced by it. And I'm a big believer in that.
100%.
Yeah. Because it goes back to, what you were saying is, like, unwasted potential. Like,
super. Yeah. I'm a person that, so environment is big, right? So I don't know if you know this. So sharks, if you get a shark and you put it in a tank, the shark will only grow to the size of the tank that you put it in.
I've heard that, but I didn't really know if that was true or not.
It's true.
Wow.
If you release the shark out into the ocean, it grows big. But if you keep it in a little tank, it stays. And that's the human. Like, the human being.
That's wild, right?
Based on your environment is to what degree you will grow. If you keep yourself, and it's funny because I've met so many brilliant people who keep themselves in an environment that limits them on purpose, so that way no one expects anything of them. That's sad, bro.
Yeah.
Just so no one is like, yo, why aren't you doing better in life? By the way, if you don't have people around you that are asking these things of you, like, listen, like, you've been in this industry 5 years. You shouldn't be making that. You should be making more money. Listen, like, it's not healthy you need to lose weight, bro. Like, it's not good for your, listen, like, I saw you talking to your girlfriend the other day.
And most people know, like, I feel like, it's not a secret. And most people, like, know, you get me? Like, to do all these things, like, but, yeah.
It's just crazy. Like, I'm the type of person that at this point in my life, if I don't get, how do I say this? If something you say about me to my face, like if you're telling me, Nelson, this, and that, I think, just my opinion, this, and that.
Right.
If you're not giving me some sort of constructive criticism that some way is like, I don't even want you around me. Because if our relationship is super comfortable 100% of the time, that means we're not growing from being around each other. If there's a moment where I felt uncomfortable around you, as far as maybe I was trying to stretch you a little bit and make you a better person, or you trying to stretch me, make me, that's what I want, even though it's uncomfortable. And even to this day, as much, listen, I've been reading books and going to seminars and sales, involved in like 7 different industries and entrepreneurship. I've been doing this for 12 years now. So I've the person I was 12 years ago to the person, like, when I talk about who I was 12 years ago, it's like a past life.
Right.
I'm a totally different person.
Same.
And to this day, I still have flaws, right? So I understand that when someone really cares about me, there's a difference between constructive criticism and a negative opinion. Like, obviously, you need to, distinction is important, right? But if you're not, if your sincere intention when you're around me isn't to grow, first off, for you to grow as a person, and second off, to want me to grow too, like, I don't think we should be around it. Like,
yeah, what are we doing? Yeah.
It's important to be friends and have a good time and all that, but it's also important to have people around you who are ensuring you're heading in the right direction in life.
And you know what happens too is sometimes, like, it's going to go back to time, which, you know, everything's connected because we were talking about how time flies. It's like people think there's a lot of time left, you know, and they think tomorrow's promised, but do we ever really know?
No.
You know, tomorrow's not promised. That's why, I mean, you know, and one thing I always try to do too, and this is like, again, it goes back to sales, like it made me be more present with people too, you know, like be in the moment. So that was a major thing too. Like we go back to sales, you learn so much, you know, being present, listening to what your clients wants, their needs and all that.
100%. Caring about people makes you a better salesperson. Makes you a better entrepreneur. Because if you put your client first, they're going to buy. Like,
right. Well, yeah, and like I like to say I'm in the people business. You know.
Facts. Super important.
Not the car business.
It's the people business.
Yeah.
No matter what industry you're in. It's always the people business.
Yep.
Learning how people think, how to talk to them, care about them first. We're in a society that is very selfish. So once someone meets somebody,
some water.
Go for it.
Yeah.
We're in a society that's very selfish. So when someone meets somebody that actually cares about them instead of themselves, it's like, wait a second.
You stand out.
This person's different.
Yeah, true.
You know? Oh, man. It's... I could talk about this for hours, I'm telling you. Like, I can't say enough good things about what sales did for me in my life, really.
Yeah. And it's something you take on for, like, the rest of your life, you know?
100%.
If you learn how to sell, you can go to any business. You can do anything.
Anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
And make money.
And everybody needs sales. Like, you can have a great product, but if you don't know how to sell it, you know, it's not really...
Yeah. The highest, and it's one of the highest paid professions in the world. You know what I mean?
Yep. Well, there's no cap to it, so...
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
Everything needs to be sold, and the art of sales is just... It's an invaluable art. I tell people, skills are things you take with you everywhere. Everywhere. No one can take away your skill. No matter what happens to you, unless... everything short of death. Nothing can take away your skills. Nothing. You take that with you until the day you die. And even if everything falls apart, you lose all your money, you get divorced, you go to prison, whatever happens, guess what? When you get out of prison, when you finish your bankruptcy, when you finish your divorce, when you finish getting through that health scare, on the other side, you're still going to have your skills. Mm-hmm. And even if you have to start over, guess what? You're not starting over without the knowledge. Now, you can get the results way faster.
You build from there.
True. You have skills.
Yeah.
Super important. Skills, man. And that's something I think whoever's out there and is wondering what to do and things are getting tough and now's the time to take the course. Now's the time to get licensed. Now's the time to go to the seminar. Now's the time to read the book. Now more than ever. When people are trying to figure it out, oh no, I need a new job. Yo, forget all that. You need to invest in yourself. You know what I mean? Investing in you is the best investment you can ever make. Invest in you. Forget real estate. Forget stocks. Listen, invest in you. You can ask any successful person, anyone who's made it, anyone who's in a position where you want to be in, they will tell you 100% the best investment you can make is investing in yourself. It's just priceless. Because it goes...
Work on yourself harder than your job.
Oof. Jim Rohn. Yo.
Yeah.
If you work hard at your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you'll make a fortune.
Nuggets.
Simple.
Drops Mike.
Simple little concepts. I love that guy, bro.
Oh, man. And throughout life, that's why like you say books and just overall, if you're open to learning and getting knowledge, is like throughout life, you meet people, you listen to things that just stick with you. Those little sayings, like, believe it or not, you play that in your head, like you start believing it, and your thought process just changes completely.
For sure.
Yeah.
110%. Man.
They used to call me like a fortune cookie when I was growing up.
That's awesome.
Because cool. Like those little sayings I would always remember. Like, I don't even know sometimes from where they come. They're just like, they're
what I've noticed in our culture? All like old Spanish people, they say all these sayings.
Oh my gosh, Cuban. You're Cuban. You guys have so many sayings.
Right?
Like you can... Easily, 300 pages is not enough for the sayings you guys
I'm going to cover a bunch of stuff. You ready? Check this out.
Yeah.
I'm going to cover a bunch of the stuff we just talked about. Dime con quién anda y te diré con quién eres. Right? Tell me who you're around and I'll tell you who you are. Bro, wisdom. El diablo sabe más por viejo que por diablo. The devil knows more from being old than from being the devil. That's wisdom.
Damn.
Right? And from there, you could... There's a million sayings that these old Spanish people have. And then it's funny because I read these books and I went to these seminars and then Abuelo told me this when I was a little kid. And oh my God, Abuela told me that when I was... There's so much wisdom in our culture, bro.
No, I bet. Like, I'm telling you, those little sayings.
That's why I love listening to old people. Like, I could, before my grandfather passed away, I used to be able to sit with him the whole day and let him just tell me stories of when he was a kid.
That's awesome.
And you hear the wisdom of these stories, and like he was 81 when he passed away. So it's like, damn, I want to be 81. There's got to be something from this guy he did right.
And you can always learn from everybody. Yeah. Don't matter like what they do, who they are. You can always learn. Yep. You just got to choose to want to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you got to be open again to these things.
Definitely. Yeah. Like, I think people need to... So here's something I learned to differentiate. Everyone's good at something and bad at another thing, right? So obviously, if they're broke, don't listen to them about business advice. But if they're a good father, listen to them about how to raise kids.
Yeah.
Right? If they're overweight, obviously don't listen to them about fitness. But if they're a good business person, learn business from them. You know what I mean? Everyone has something practical to teach you. Everyone. Doesn't matter who it is. Someone who lived a long life. You meet someone who's 90. You meet someone who's 95, 100. My great-great-grandfather got to meet my sister. He was my great-great-grandfather. He was 104.
Dang.
He got to meet my sister.
Good.
So we have a picture of this in my family. It's my great-great-grandfather at 104 years old.
Okay.
His son, my great-grandfather. My grandmother. A bunch of his great-grandkids. So a bunch of my grandma's nieces and nephews, my dad's cousins.
Big family.
Huge. And then my sister, his great-great-granddaughter. All in one picture. Like,
generations there.
I wish I would have been the one that went to Cuba and met him, because, like, the conversations with that dude must have been crazy. 104 years old.
Yep.
There can't even be that many people who've talked to someone who's 100 years old, right?
No, I mean...
It's
a blessing if you get to that age.
He died like in...
I think, what's the average now? Like 70?
Yeah, late 70s, early 80s, something 80? Like that. I think the average man lives to be 70... Like 74, and the average woman is 71, something like that.
I'm sure like 70, 80s.
Probably.
Yeah, definitely not 100. We don't get that
and the difference between men and women, it's only like 3 or 4 years. But anyway, so I think he died like in 1998. So think about this. He died in 1998. That means he was born in 1894.
Oh, my goodness.
He saw the invention of the airplane. He saw the invention of the television. He saw the invention of the radio. He saw the invention of color television. He saw the invention of the internet. Bro.
A lot of things he's seen.
Right?
Yeah.
He saw the invention of the car. Bro.
Yeah, now the cars are,
It's crazy. Like...
regular when back then, we were in horses. It's the irony is like back then we were riding horses,
Right.
and if you had a car, you're like wealthy, and now it's like vice
Everybody has a car.
versa.
Right. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
and if you have a horse, you're wealthy, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like, think about that, bro. That's crazy. If someone's 100 years old right now, that means they were born in 1923. Bro, so you were born before the Great Depression in the 20s. You saw World War II. Oh, my God. He saw World War II. He saw World War One.
A lot of things he's seen.
He saw the Cuban Revolution. Bro, I can't even, like, look at all the things that this man lived through. That's crazy, bro.
And let's just like say, like, what you're just piggyback what you're saying, like, you know, let's say that same person, like, in the sense of, okay, they're a good dad or something. Let's just say you don't learn anything from that, but from the stories they're telling you and the experiences that they've gone through, you're gonna learn something.
For sure.
You know, because sometimes, like, again, it goes back to what I was saying too, like, we can avoid so much pain if we just listen, you know. And they're telling us their experiences, like, okay, they did this, they did that. I'm not going to do it this way. 100%. Or I'm going to do it this way.
100%.
You know, so it's always something to be learned. Especially that many years, like, so much wisdom there.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Super important. Did you grow up around, like, grandparents or like, extended family?
No. I mean, I literally just grew up with my mom, dad. I have an older brother. And that's about it.
When did your parents come to the United States?
I'm 26, and my brother's 29. So, I mean, they're already here. So, they've been here for about 35 years.
That's
so
funny.
if I tell you the year, I don't.
My dad, that's around the time my dad came. My dad came in 1988. That's
okay.
funny.
So, around the same
time?
Same time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Born and raised in Miami. That's all I know. Tropical.
I feel like you're a Gen Zer. You're a little bit younger than me. What year were you born? 90. Don't tell me. 96.
Close. 97.
97.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Gen Z, I think, started in 96, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't even know. But, I mean, I do feel like I'm an old soul, so.
Me too.
You know?
Yeah, I don't belong in my generation.
Yeah, 100%. Just like culture and everything.
Yeah. I love old music.
Yeah.
Super old music, like old Spanish music. I love it. You might not know who these people are, but there's these old Cuban singers. There's
Probably not.
Yeah, like a Jose Tejedor. He's like a super old singer from the 1940s. You listen to the music and it's like, wow, this is what my great grandma used to listen to. You know?
Yeah, and I think times just back then were just so much different. You know, 100%. It wasn't as like how it is now. Like, you know, what you mentioned, you know, people are now, it's just because of technology too. Yeah. Again, pros and cons. But I feel like that ruined some people, you know. They're just more about themselves, selfish. Yep. And I feel like back then with no tech, you were present. You were as selfish, you know. You're very selfless. So
technology definitely plays a role because the amount of attention and focus that gets stolen by TikTok and Instagram and YouTube and all that stuff, it's pretty big. You know, like, for example, how parents just give a kid an iPad to make him shut up nowadays. That didn't exist a long time ago.
Oh, my God. Now, speaking of that, so I became an aunt. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, I'm excited for that. I have a niece and a nephew, so I know that's super awesome. Yeah.
But,
and, like, she's going to turn 1 next month, right?
That's cool.
And one thing I noticed, just going back to tech, is crazy. Like, it's just they're born already. It's part of them. The evolution is just already indoctrinated in them. This little girl doesn't even know what a phone is. Like, she doesn't have the strength to pick up the phone, you know?
She knows, like, what to touch. And
the first thing, you can leave her toy here and a phone here. First thing she's going to grab is the phone.
That's crazy.
Oh, my goodness. And she picks it up. Like, if she's going to unlock it,
my nephew,
it's mind-blowing.
My nephew started using an iPad when he was, like, 1.5. 2 years old.
And they know more than us. Like,
yo, boom, boom.
We thought we knew about tech.
I was taking on there for he was like 2 years old. He's like, Tio, give me that. You're taking too long. And he put YouTube, sucking on his little pacifier. I was like, bro, look at this kid. That's crazy. Yeah. Technologies. So yeah, that I think has I don't know what part. I'm not like an expert or anything, but for sure that element of like giving a kid some digital device to make him shut up, I think that's a big player in like ADD and those kinds of things. Because back in the day, what did they used to do? Go out and play until they were tired, And then they used to come home and just knock out. You know what I mean? Like,
another thing too is like a lot of people hide behind their phones. Internet warriors, you know. We're back then.
Keyboard warriors.
You know, yeah.
Tell me about it.
Back then you would get like fight and
on my social media, bro.
Handshake after. You get me?
On my social media, I have the comments on my. I'll show you after when we finish. The comments on my YouTube are hilarious. It's like, who has time to write this? Like,
yeah, it's
hilarious.
Pretty funny, yeah.
Yeah, Nela. Pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for coming.
Appreciate
your time. So I usually wrap up my podcast with 3 questions. So question number 1.
Okay.
What inspires you?
I'm sorry, what?
What inspires you?
What inspires me? Family. Yeah.
I feel you, man. Ever since my niece and my nephew were born, it's different. Like, it's not about us anymore.
Yep. No, and for me, it's like my kids. I don't even have kids yet, but it's like...
Yo, on the last podcast I recorded, I promise you that's what I said. She
was
like,
really?
I'm inspired by family. And I said, you know what's crazy? I'm inspired by the wife and the kids I don't even have yet.
Facts, yeah, because like,
crazy,
you know,
right?
You're working to, you know, change, I guess, the chain too, you know?
100%.
So...
That's super dope.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm very grateful, but it's like I want more out of life. We're only here one time.
Straight up.
You know, we're here for a short time too. And again, it goes back to what I was saying. Tomorrow's not promised. So it's like you try to max out every day.
100%. Question number 2. What's next for you?
Maybe a podcast.
Ah.
Nah, I'm playing. I mean, just work. Working gym is really all I do.
I noticed.
I mean,
on your stories, you're selling a car.
That's literally all I do.
Or you're walking your dog.
Or walking my dog. Yep. So what's next? Who knows? So, I mean, I kind of have, you know, my plans, of course, but something particular, no.
Cool. And then the last thing, how do you want to be remembered?
Game changer. Drops mic.
No, it was a pleasure.
It was fun. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So how can people connect with you?
You can follow me on TikTok, Nela Bella XO, or Nela Bella on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Thank you for coming. I appreciate
you.
Alrighty, guys. Another episode of the Montana Method Podcast.
That's
Nelson
a wrap.
Rodriguez Jr. signing out. As always, push it to the limit. The world is yours. And my friends, if you are not chasing a dream, life is meaningless. To the next one.
I've been out here hustling all my life. Every day we get into it. Really out here in these streets. That's day and night. Like there's nothing to it. When I was going through it, dog, I never got your call. I never asked for nothing, no. But now I want it all. I promise I'ma do it. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags to riches. Rags to riches. Came from rags.